Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're doing another episode in our coaching series for League of Legends. I'm the Strategy Professor. We're going to be looking at a Silver 5 Garen replay here. So just as a quick preface, I have not played Garen in years, so I'm not going to be a Garen expert, but I did research it, and I do have some ideas about how we might be able to improve the play here. And I think a lot of my strength as a coach is on macro level play too, and so you can do that with any champion. So I think it'll still be a good show. Just keep in mind that I'm not a Garen expert, okay? As a lot of people who coach other people for champions that are a little bit outside their comfort zone can still offer good advice even if they're not experts with that particular champion. So hopefully that'll be the case here. You can find a link to this Google Doc in the video description if you just want to skip straight to the game, if you want to skip the pregame. But we're going to go over the op.gg really quickly. We're going to go over the pregame itself, what you should be thinking about during Champion Select, and then after the video, we'll do a postgame where we summarize the top 5 or so things that could help Dagon become a better player with Garen in this particular game. And so this is Dylan from the channel. If you might see him on Members Night if you come out. He's a wonderful player, wonderful person, long-time contributor to the channel, so I'm happy to help him out here. Speaking of membership, stick around at the end if you want to hear more about Members Night. It's every Tuesday, which is tonight. You can join in on the game. It's just less than $0.25 a day, $5 a month. You can play viewers games. You can join our awesome Discord. You can get a discount on coaching sessions, guide commissions, and you can vote on the champions that I play every week during normals games. So it's quite a lot of benefits for a very small amount of money, and it really does help out a lot. It adds up, and it helps support the channel. And then we also have more coaching guides, coaching playlist here. And then my email address if you have any inquiries, if you want a coaching session, if you want to become a member, if you want to commission a guide, or if you just want to ask a question, you can email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. So I've got the game pulled up here for the op.gg. I would say that even as a top laner, I would try to place at least 3 control wards, especially with Garen. I think your matchup is against Maokai, I believe. It could be against Eve, I suppose, but I think it's probably against Maokai. If it's Eve, some of this might change. Some of my recommendations might change, because I haven't actually watched the video yet, but just sort of in the pregame. You want to be pushing and roaming as Garen, because he's very fast. He can run around the map. He can make plays. He does a lot of damage in the early to mid game. So you want to be using your control wards to deny vision and to give yourself vision of their jungle and the river and just control that top side of that river and try to make picks. So push and pick against Maokai, and he won't be able to follow you that easily. So that's kind of the strategy I would go for here, and a lot of that's going to hinge upon locking out vision with control wards. So I highly recommend getting at least 3 control wards during the game just to lock out vision. I think you pretty much have the ideal rune set. 9 AD for the reds. The quench should be AD. The yellows should be armor. The blues are a little bit more flexible. I think that CDR might be pretty good. You're not getting a lot of CDR with your build here. You got Spirit Visage, and Cleaver, I guess, gives you some. Death Stance will eventually give you a lot of CDR. That's an interesting buy. I do like the Death Stance buy. But having CDR earlier in the game will give you more ults, give you more spin to win. I think it's a good matchup. You can go flat AP if you want. I would say if you're going to go AP, at least go scaling, because even if it is Eve or Maokai, they're just not going to be doing enough damage to you to really matter in the early game. Probably you can always step out of combat for a little bit and regen if that happens. So I don't think you need flat MR. That's like if you're against a really hard AP lane, like maybe against Rumble or something like that, you might consider flat magic resist. But for this, I think you could go CDR, or I think you could go scaling magic resist blues. A lot of people on pro builds go CDR, but if you want to go MR, I think scaling would be fine. I think your build overall is pretty good. You may want to consider getting a Mortal Reminder that synergizes very well with your Cleaver and your other armor shred that you have going on and your spin to win, of course. It would give you a little bit more AD for that, and it can help you against the healing of Maokai, so I think that could be pretty big. And if Eve ends up getting something like a Rune Blade, then that will also help versus her. And these two will probably get some kind of lifesteal at some point. Draven usually gets it as his first item, and they have a Soraka. So yeah, Mortal Reminder I think would be excellent here, because you can apply it to everybody with your spin to win. Now yes, Misfortune will probably get a Mortal Reminder eventually, but I think it would still be a great item. So, you know, you might think about going something like Cleaver into Thornmail into Mortal Reminder or something instead of Death's Dance, perhaps. Or instead of Spirit Visage, depending on how the game develops. But I think Mortal Reminder would be a really good call here. Remember that Warden's Mail does not stack with Thornmail because Thornmail has a Warden's Mail built in, so I assume you were probably building something like a Randuin's there. You lose a little bit of efficiency because you're not going to be able to stack the Cold Steel bonus among multiple items, so I wouldn't recommend going that. I would think if you want another tank item, Knight's Vow is excellent. That can help protect some of the squishy champions on your team. You know, you can throw that on your Misfortune or your Zed, and that would be an excellent choice. No one else is going to get Knight's Vow. Probably Sej might get it, but I think that's an excellent choice. Just the flat health and armor alone is pretty good on it, and then obviously the damage misdirection is quite good as well. So I think Knight's Vow is very good. Dead Man's Plate would also be pretty good if you want to go for more of a roaming split push kind of build that will give you the mobility to get away from people who are trying to gank you. Synergizes very well with your Q. And it'll let you run in and get on that back line and stick to people a little bit better. Warmog is another one, especially if you want to go with kind of the split push roam tactics. That can top you off really quick health-wise. And that synergizes really well with your passive, because your passive is based on your max health, I believe. Yeah, percent of your maximum health. So just getting a ton of health can be really good on Garen also. Something that I didn't see a lot of people building... you could, and this would help you out with your split push a little bit, you do have nice splitting with Judgment, so you probably don't need it, but if you're going to be getting a lot of health anyways, you might consider going Titanic Hydra. That would give you a little bit more AD, it would give you more burst damage, so when you go in, run at somebody, Q them with Decisive Strike, you know, proc your Hydra, use your active on your Hydra, and then spend to win. That could be a nice little way to give you some extra burst with your combo, and it gives you a little bit more tankiness, so... I don't know. Titanic is a little weird. It would give you some extra split push. It would give you a little bit more burst damage. And it could fit in if you're going to get a lot of health anyways. I'm not sure it's entirely necessary on Garen, but it's an interesting thing. So I definitely think that Cleaver is where you want to be, which is what you got. I think Cleaver, probably Thornmail, especially against their team with 2 ADs. I think Cleaver Thornmail is certainly where you want to be with Ninja Tabi. Then it's that third item. I would either go Mortal Reminder and Knight's Vow would probably be the choices. And, you know, you could consider Titanic Hydra somewhere down the line if you want, but it's probably unnecessary. I think either Mortal Reminder would be your best additional AD item. I mean, you can always go something like Infinity Edge if you really want to start destroying people with your spins. You could get that as a 6th item, maybe. They do have a lot of squishies on their team, but I think you would definitely want Cleaver, Thornmail, Mortal Reminder... And then eventually, if you want another item, you could go Infinity Edge. The Death Stance is nice for the life stealing. I don't know. You got to remember that your spins can actually crit as well. That's kind of a weird build on Garen, but overall, your build's pretty good. I just think Sprinkle and Mortal Reminder, Knight's Vow would probably be the better choices in some places. As far as your masteries, Expose Weakness and Explorer would be things that I would definitely go for. This does help you heal in lane. It shouldn't be much of a problem with Garen. You're going to have a lot of sustain anyways. I would also consider going off of Vampirism and going on to Natural Talent for the extra AD. I do like Battle Trance. But this right here is going to be really good in team fights. That extra 3% damage from allies. So I would certainly go for that. The rest of this looks okay. As far as Tough Skin, it says neutral monster basic attacks. Remember, that is not lane minions. It does not reduce the damage from lane minions. So all you're doing is reducing 2 damage every now and then from an auto attack. And you're not going to be facing anyone that's going to auto attack you a lot. Like, maybe if you're against, like, a Quinn or something top lane, you might consider that. But, you know, Maokai is going to hit you every now and then, or Eve is going to hit you every now and then. And it shouldn't matter that much. So I think Explorer is much better. That's going to let you roam up and down that river and make those plays I was talking about earlier. I do like this because you're going to eventually get extra bonus armor and magic resist. You could consider Fearless. I mean, getting extra cooldown on your teleport is pretty important. The flash doesn't matter as much. Fearless would be an option you could think about. I'm not sure if it entirely matters. Grasp of the Undying is pretty good. So overall, pretty solid. I would definitely go for Exposed Weakness. I would definitely shift from Vampirism over to Natural Talent and Explorer, and then you could think about Fearless if you want to do that. Okay. Other good bruisers you might consider top lane. I mean, Garen is okay, but I think if you're really trying to learn some more top laners, I think that Renekton is another champion that's very similar to Garen. I think he scales a little bit better. I think he has a bit more utility. But he's an early game bully that tries to get to the back line later in the game. J4 is another one who's really interesting. He can dunk the back line. He's a bully early on, and he brings a lot of team utility with his ultimate and the extra armor shred that he gives on his Q. You give armor shred too with your Black Cleaver, but he can shred with his Q, and he can get Cleaver as well. I think that J4 is really one of the more popular top lane, premier, early game bully, late game utility type of champions. Cled's another one who's super powerful right now. You know, if you have any inclination to learn Kled, I think this is a great meta for him. Cho'Gath is obviously extremely strong as well, especially if you need some magic damage on your team. How's your team looking compositionally? Yeah, magic damage would be good. You don't have any magic damage outside of Sejuani, so something like a Cho or a Shin would help out there in the magic department. Now, they don't have a ton of tanks, so it's not going to matter that much. They have Maokai, and that's it. But if you have an AD middle, a lot of times you want to go for an AP top. And I think that Cho'Gath would be a premier person to consider for that. And then Shin is just really good too. They've nerfed a lot of the other tanks top. He has great presence across the map, and especially if you go for an early Titanic Hydra and then tank after that, he can do quite a bit of damage in a split push threat. So I think that all of these are really good bruisers you might want to consider in addition to Garen, or instead of Garen in some places. Garen is really strong. He's very one-dimensional, and he's pretty easy to counter. Like, you definitely can win with Garen, but I think all of these bring a little bit more utility to the table. I think the most direct analog would be Renekton being almost a strict upkeep, or strict upgrade to Garen in many circumstances. Darius is another one who's really strong, who has that powerful ult, but he can also get kited. I think that Garen can at least escape a little bit better than Darius can. So Garen can win. I mean, Garen can be really strong. I'm just trying to throw some other names out there if you want to try some different champions that are similar, that probably are a little bit more powerful, at least objectively, on this patch. Okay, in the pregame, I think you want to be really aggressive. I don't know if you're against Eve or Maokai. I thought it was Maokai, but based on the positioning here, it looks like it might be Eve matching up with you. Either way, you should be able to bully either one of them out, push them in, try roaming. Thanks for the sub. Whoever just subbed, who was that? Thank you, Manuel. I appreciate it. Try to get deep wards in the jungle. Try to play around Sejuani. If she's topside, go invade. Try to bully him out. If it's Eve, you can bully her. If it's Maokai jungle, you can probably still bully him out. So you just want to push and roam as much as you can. Look for good TP spots. A lot of being a good top laner, I'd say probably at least a quarter to half of being a good top laner is knowing when to teleport. So just watching the map, having that awareness, and teleporting to places where you need to be. You should be able to split against either Maokai or Eve, especially after you get Black Cleaver, Ninja Tabi. Try to find out who the villain is and go around and kill those people as much as you can, because you do a ton of extra damage to them with your passive. So obviously your ultimate does true damage, which is massive true damage. And then I think you do extra damage against villains when you spend a win too. Yes, 1% of their maximum health is true damage. So you really want to get on the villains. He's a good anti-snowball champion. If someone over there is snowballing, you can shut him down pretty easily. You just have to go and seek out and try to kill the people that are marked as villains. And you need to try to close out this game soon. If this goes to late game, it could be really tough. It does actually go to late game, and you guys end up pulling out the victory, so we'll see how that works. But, you know, in theory, Draven, Tristana are extremely scary later on, and Maokai becomes increasingly difficult to kill. So, okay, let's go ahead and get in here. Let's see what we're working with. Let's see, I do have this. I do have the sound. I can hear it. I had turned it off a little bit ago while I was writing up the Google Doc. All right, so let's see how this goes.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Oh, already got everyone out there. Okay, here we go. What'd you start with? Shield. That's probably good. Okay, so it is Eve top. Okay. You should massacre this lane.
Minions have spawned.
So yeah, I mean, if it is Eve top, then yeah, the flat AP or the flat MR is good. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you probably suspected Malachi top. That's what I would think. I mean, who in the world is going to think it's going to be Eve top? Eve's biggest strength is her invisibility, and obviously you just can't use that in a top lane, so that is weird. Yeah, I'll just go Cleaver and let her... Okay. Don't forget to auto-attack. No. It's too greedy. And you're pushing into her minion wave. Just auto her down. You don't have to kill her. You're running up beside her. You just want to, like, attack, move, up to her. You need to be pushing the wave. Hitting level 2, especially top lane, is really important. The level 2 always comes. Now, in the bot lane, it is after, the 3 melee minions on the second wave is when you hit level 2. Top lane is probably a little earlier. I'm not sure the exact timing. I think it's the second melee minion. Let me go back and see. We'll figure it out here. I can tell you properly. Okay, so here's the second wave. I think. That might even be the third wave. Let's count the minions here. Okay, so here's the first wave. So you need to be focusing on hitting level 2, because like Garen has a brutal level 2. Okay, so these are just the casters left. So hit her, that's fine. Right there, you should have auto-attacked her twice. Now run, run. You got her focused out. Kill these minions. Don't flash for her. Kill these minions. But now these minions were attacking you instead of... Let me see. So yeah, they have way more stacked up. So let's see. Okay, yeah, it's after you kill the first minion on the second wave. The first melee minion is when she gets it. Yeah. So in bot lane, you have to kill all 3 melees, but top lane is just the first melee minion. So that's really what you want. You want to hit level... Don't use your Q to farm. You need to be using that on her. I would just spin the wave right here. Just thin it out. It's pushing into you. It just depends. Sejuani's on the top side. You know, one of the big parts about top lane is you don't want to get ganked by their jungler and killed. And he could be up here around 3 minutes, in theory. That's a very common jungle route. So letting it push into you is okay. You just don't want it to go into your tower. If you're trying to get Sej to come up here and kill her, that's fine. Don't use your Q on minions, though. Or, like, you know that Sej is in position to potentially come up here and kill, so you really don't want to be using your abilities. It looks like she's running. Yeah, she's pushing into you too much. Yeah, I think you should have just spun up here and pushed her into tower and forced Malachi to come up here. I think you just need to go up and just let her have it. Like, just walk up, Q her, spin to win, and run away. Like, just over and over and over again. Every time that's off cooldown. And then just you heal, she doesn't, and eventually she has to leave. Like, I think that's how this should go. Especially with Doran's shield. I think you should be forcing a lot more fights. I mean, she can't... She's Eve. Like, she's not going to do anything to you. I think you need to be much, much more aggressive. You're basically giving her a free lane. And you should be massacring her in this lane. Okay. Now, when you do go up for that, you need to make sure that you, you don't get hit too much by their minions, but... See, she has to use minions to push. Like, I think you're kind of picking the worst of both worlds here. Like, you either need to be pushing her in really hard with your E, and just forcing it to where she can't trade with you because you have too many minions, like right now, or you need to let her push into you, like, and try to freeze it right here so that you can run up and attack her and bully her out, so that and then you zone her off of minions. But, like, just allowing her to free farm right here and allowing her to freeze right here is not going to work. And I know you're a little scared because now she has it frozen here, and Malachi could just come rolling up out of here. So don't use your Q if you're scared then. You can spend a win, which is fine, but you need to use your Q to be able to run because you wasted your flash earlier. So a lot of top lane is wave management also. Yeah, you need to have like a conscious plan. Like, what am I going to do here? Am I going to push in and force the jungler to come up here to relieve pressure on other lanes? Because you can escape pretty easily as Garen. You know, you can Q and get away pretty quickly, especially if you ward. So yeah, you should go ahead and back. You should be backing like 5 seconds ago. She's obviously backed.
Rampage.
You need to shut this person down. Get a bunch of swords. There you are. I mean, I think you're respecting her damage too much. I don't think she's going to do that much damage to you. I would just straight go for Cleaver. I think you're playing this way too passively. I mean, you are a huge juggernaut, and she's a weak little assassin that does not scale very well at all until later in the game. Like, she relies a lot on stealth and picking people off when they're weak or when they least suspect it. She's up here like fighting in plain view, and I think you're respecting her too much. Why? I don't know. Maybe you had to get the door or something. Be more aggro early. You can push or zone. I would say push, because one thing that Eve wants to do is roam, right? Like, that's like the only reason it even remotely makes sense to pick Eve top is because she wants to push you in and then roam. There you go. Yeah. Aggressive on her. Yeah, show her who's boss. Like, this could have been happening the whole time. Because here's the thing, you have free heal. Like, all you have to do is step back, and you're going to get a ton of healing off your passive, right? She doesn't have that, and you should almost be able to just... You use your Q on the wave. If you didn't use your Q on the wave, she was dead there. But you use your Q to last hit a minion. If we look. Just imagine if you didn't use your Q right here. So you use your Q. If you didn't use your Q and you ran on her, eat her, then she was dead. That's the difference right there. Do not use your abilities on the wave. I know it's you want to make sure that you land those last hits. Also, if you would have gotten long swords or a phage instead of the cloak, then you would have more AD. You also would have killed her if you had 2 long swords instead, and that helps you last hit. So I think that she's going like AD anyways. Like, you need to look at her itemization. She has a phage, so she's probably going Trinity Force first. And look at her runes too, right? She has 0 AP and she has a lot of AD. So your Spirit Visage, or whatever that thing is, the cloak, the part of the Spirit Visage, is actually not blocking as much damage as you think it is. This is where, you know, just pressing tab or just clicking on her and just seeing, like, what are her stats? What is she building? It's weird. I mean, you would think that Eve would build AP, but she does have AD ratios on most of her abilities, so you're actually, it's just not really effective at all to have the magic resist because she's building all AD right now. I'm going to say watch itemization. I mean, Garen is a premier early game bully. Like, that's his thing, right? There's very little counterplay to him. You just walk up and Q her and just spin on her over and over and over again. That's all you have to do in this lane, and she should have no prayer. Unless she built, like, you want to force her to build armor. Like, you want to say to her, you're not getting any farm unless you get armor. And when you get armor, I'm going to have Black Cleaver. So you want to force her into difficult itemization spots. Like, she needs to be punished for building Phage. You have to crush her. Like, it should not be even in CS. I just can't run at her right now. Just press your Q, run at her. Turn around and fight her. Look, you're still winning. Even though she used her ult, you're still winning. I think you're just too, like, you're too scared of her. Go fight her right now. Go Q her right now and spin her. Now Tristan is here, so you gotta run. I don't think I've seen the combo yet, where you actually Q, run up, hit her. Remember, she's silenced, and most of her damage comes from spamming her Q, so she can't do that when she's silenced. So, you're gonna have to teleport back up there. You need TP, like, now. TP, TP, TP. Yeah, that's really late. You gotta buy, like, immediately, and then go TP back. So yeah, I really want you to just go up and just Q her in the face, and then just spin her, and just run her down. Just keep auto-attacking and chasing her, like, just make her leave. Now, Triss could still be up here. She's not middle, so you need to be aware of that. Like, I understand maybe you're scared of Malachi the first couple of times, around 3 minutes, and, you know, that's okay, but at this point, you know, you've given her way too much of a free lane. She's actually ahead in CS. Like, the Doran's shield early on is safe enough. Like, you're already going to shatter her with a Doran shield early on. She cannot keep up with your sustain. Like, you really have to leverage your passive, which means that you go in, you go for fights, you back up while your cooldowns are, you know, resetting, you heal, and then you go back in every time your cooldowns are up. And Triss is middle, you don't have to be scared of her. Okay, there's Mao, just run. She's not going to be able to get you. This is something you could have been doing the whole time, is pushing her to tower, or zoning her and just running up and fighting her with your Q. Like, Malachi barely scratched you. Just keep pushing it. Now, I wouldn't use your Q. Attack. Just auto and then Q her. Your Q is an auto attack resets. That means you can attack her and then get a free attack in with your Q. Fight her. And don't use your... I really don't like using the abilities on the wave. I mean, she should be getting murdered for this build. This is just, like, straight up disrespectful to you as a Garen player right now. Her getting away with this build. Yeah, I think if you had Cleaver right now instead, you would just kill her, like, every time you're around her. You don't have teleport.
Red team double kill. Shut down.
She's almost got your tower. Just auto attack the wave. So you can do it. You can last hit without that stuff. Cleaver also gives you much more cooldown. And you're level 10 and you've only used your ult once, also. I think Eve has used hers several times. 2 or 3 times. So you definitely need to punish her when her ult's on cooldown. Yeah, I mean, she's going to be up in CS after this. I'm going to speed this up a little bit.
Killing spree.
Run up and Q and E her. There. Yeah. All in. Yeah. She doesn't have any sustain.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
See how you've healed up so much and she has virtually nothing? See, she's gonna sit on that low health and you just killed the Tristana, I guess. Here, let me back up. Yeah, she's gonna sit on this low health and you're gonna have a ton of health. This is something you could have been doing the whole time, though. It's just like pushing them into lane. You should Q her first, so she can't drop a bomb on you. Yeah, I mean, you could have been doing this the whole time. Just push them in. Just fight. Just keep fighting Eve. Make sure she's low. Back up. You heal. Keep pushing her in. Malachi shows up. Whatever. You fight him. And you just keep fighting everybody that comes up here. And just really, like, putting some muscle in on him. That's what Garen's all about. I'm gonna say don't use abilities on wave. She still doesn't have any AP. Like, she's going all AD. Rotate down there. Yeah, go get him. Go get him. This, like, you should be, I think, just pushing them in and then roam. She's not going to beat you. Turn around and Q her, E her. There you go. Yeah, it's that simple. Like, you're not even itemized correctly. You have a Spirit Visage. You don't have a Cleaver. And you're still crushing her. You were probably even low on HP at the start of that. You used your spin to win. You didn't use your Q again. Okay, there's your Q. You want to Q first and then spin. Do you like fighting in her minion wave? I don't know. Like, she has such an itemization advantage on you right now, but just because you're Garen and you're way stronger than she is early on. Now, I assume you use Courage in there somewhere. I don't know the visual effect for Courage or W. But yeah, see, there you go. You don't have to be scared of her. You can run up and fight her. You could have been doing this the entire time. Just as soon as you see her, just run up, Q her in the face, E, follower, auto, until she just runs all the way back to her tower, then back up, you heal back to full, she's still at like a quarter health. And you just zone her off of the creeps, or you just keep pushing her in. Okay, they're coming for you now. Yeah, you gotta run. Use your Q and just get out of there. Back right here. Now they can just kill this tower too. I think you need to buy. You've got like a lot of gold right now, probably. You have 2 kills worth of gold and a lot of minions. I can't see your exact gold that you have. But I assume you have at least 2,000. I don't know where I could see your gold. Usually there's some kind of little tab or something, but I don't know. You have a lot of gold. I'll tell you right now, you have a lot of gold. You should have bought right there. I don't know. Like, sticking around to defend that is okay, I guess. Okay, you need to get down here. Get the Soraka right now. Get the Soraka. Q her. Q her. Okay, Eve. Switch to Eve. Switch to Eve. Okay. Get on the Soraka. See, if you had Cleaver right now, they would have all been shredded. Also. I really do not like Spirit Visage first. Like, I know one thing, and I've talked about this before on my, you know, on stream, but when you're out of position, then, you know, I always say kind of err on the side of caution, so, you know, I respect that you probably don't play top very often, and you just pick something that was pretty simple, just tanky, which is good. That's what you should do. You should pick simple tanks in an off-roll that you're not good at as support, or that you don't have a lot of experience on, I should say. I don't have a lot of experience top lane either. That's why a lot of times I will try to play tanks top. But you're playing it way too cautiously, I think. Because Garen, here's the thing, Garen doesn't have as much utility as other tanks top. Like, if you want to play the, like, super passive farm style top, you should be playing a mega tank, like a Cho'Gath or something like that, that just scales way harder. Or Nasus. Nasus is another one I forgot to mention earlier, but he's, like, extremely powerful if you just want the farm off tank with good utility late game. Like, Garen, you're picking Garen to just beat some face in early on, and you need to do that. Almost nobody beats him one-on-one early on. You probably need to rotate back here. You do have TP, but your push is so anemic too. That's the thing, because you have Spirit Visage, you're not pushing waves fast enough. Like, you need to be able to push and go down there to help. So you really need that cleaver. Gives you better trading, gives you better team fighting, gives you better split push. It's just like the item on Garen. You have to rush it. Unless you're against like a Rumble and you're like 0-4 or something, you have to go cleaver. She still doesn't have any AP. You're probably thinking, man, why is she doing so much damage to me when I have this Spirit Visage? And the reason is she's doing no AP damage hardly. It's all AD. But still, you still shouldn't build Thornmail or anything like that either. Just go cleaver and just go toe-to-toe with her and just beat her up. What are you going to buy? You have to have a zillion gold, right? You got Ninja Tabi. You got to have something else. Yeah, Phage and Kindle Gem. I would have almost... I don't guess you probably had enough gold to complete cleaver there, but you should have backed much earlier. That means that you had like 2,500 gold or something there. Yeah, and you really can't be up that far after the two mid tiers are down and everyone's like MIA. Alright, so cleaver first for more split. And the Eve's missing. Okay, so you're going to have to back up. Okay, Eve's bot lane. Yeah, get in here. I would teleport over here. So, like, that ward just died. You could have teleported on that ward. I mean, I guess that's okay, sort of, kind of, but I feel like you could have teleported in and closed that out faster. And they wouldn't be as low. See, Eve is there and you're not. That's the thing. Like, if you would have teleported down here, you could have gone and cleaned that up a lot cleaner. And, see, right now that Spirit Visage is not doing anything for you. against Draven. He's the villain. You should be able to execute him, right? You have ult? I think you would have killed him. I don't know if there's an indicator if you kill him or not, but it looked very close to like you being able to kill him. I still think I've only seen you use Judgment or whatever his ultimate is. Demacia and Justice like once this game, maybe twice. And it's 25 minutes in. It's only like a 2-minute cooldown, I think, at level 1, and it gets lower. That's another thing. You're a very cooldown-based champion, and Black Cleaver gives you 20% cooldown. So that lets you use more Demacia and Justice. It lets you use more spin to win. The Black Cleaver is just your lifeblood. It's your team fight. It's your wave clear. It's your straight up 1v1 power. It's your cooldowns. It's just everything. You have to have Cleaver. Unless there is just like something extreme going on in this game. Asher's to Tristana? I would have probably gone Cleaver into Executioners, Calling, and then maybe Thornmail. I don't know. I guess maybe you don't, like, if you have Thornmail, maybe you don't need Executioners. That might be overkill, but... Oof. The extra armor shred is really helpful, though. He doesn't have a ton of armor, though. I don't know. I think Cleaver is, like, definitely where you need to be, though. Probably Cleaver, Thornmail. Yeah, stick on her. I really don't even like Spirit Visage here, like, at all. I would not get that item. Because if you just look at her, like, she has no AP. None. They have no AP on their team. I mean, Tristana, I guess. But...
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
They're all pretty squishy, too. I might just go, like, just Cleaver, Mortal Reminder, honestly. Just say whatever. Like, they don't... I mean, I don't know. Cleaver, definitely, and then either Thornmail or Mortal Reminder. Because here's the thing. With Thornmail, they have to actually attack you for that debuff to... like, count. So if they just ignore you, like if Eve just starts running for Misfortune, or like Tristana jumps and, you know, tries to kill whoever, somebody other than you, then they don't get it applied. Whereas you choose who it gets applied to when you have Mortal Reminder. Right? So anyone that you spin on, and it applies to everybody that you spin on too. And that would help out, I mean, your Cleaver helps out Zed. I just feel like I would want to do a lot more damage right now as Garen against their team. Like, just go up and just punish this Eve. Go up and massacre her. I mean, as silly as it seems, maybe even Ghostblade or something, just so you can run up and, like, just get her. Just run around the map. Crush her. I mean, you could go the Death Stance early if you want. Infinity Edge is another one that you could try. I do think that you need some kind of way to neutralize Soraka, though. I still think Mortal Reminder. I would go Cleaver Reminder here. Right now, like, y'all just aren't doing enough to kill these people. Okay, good dragon. Yeah, get the Trist, get the Trist. Q in there, get the Trist. Okay, yeah, I guess just get Mal. Soraka's just healing too much. Like, y'all don't have the damage to get through Soraka right now. She doesn't. She does have Mortal Reminder. Yeah, stick in there. I mean, if you go something like Death's Dance, that might actually be pretty good. Like, if you went... Death's Dance instead of Spirit Visage here, that would give you some tankiness, but it would also give you offense, because that's what you need right now. Is like, you need more offense, but you kind of need a tanky front line. Because right now you're just not doing damage. Turn around, Q him. Run at him, Q him. Keep going, Q. She's gonna stun him, Q. You need to Q before you spin to win. That silences them so they can't flash out. So they can't use any kind of movement to run out. Okay, good. That's a thing that, an execution thing that I've seen a lot, where you go in and you just spin without queuing first. You need to run at them and queue them, and then spin. That way they can't, like, Tristana can't jump out, they can't flash out, they can't hit you back with anything hardly. Like, that's his whole thing, is you run in, queue them, that's the silence, and then spin to win. It's a pretty long silence. I forgot how, it's like 2 seconds or something once you get it leveled up. It might even be longer. They've changed it a lot over the years, but you're not going to kill her without a Mortal Reminder. I don't think so. I mean, maybe. Well, you got her, but... Well, Eve suicided. Okay, it worked out. If you're going to get a defensive item here, I do like Thornmail because the armor helps you against towers. But I think the Spirit Visage is definitely a dud. I would have either gotten Death's Dance there or Mortal Reminder just for more damage. Death's Dance would give you that extra bit of defense that you want. Y'all need to leave. You need to ping him back. Okay. Alright, keep pushing. Like, even a Warmogs, I think, would be better than Spirit Visage right now, because at least that synergizes... I mean, the Spirit Visage does synergize with your passive a little bit, too. They just don't have any APs. Other than Trist. He's gonna get baited to death. Trying to go for this. Okay. Alright. Zed has died 17 times. Oh my gosh. Alright. Fair enough. Yeah, you need some vision here. Like, you need to put a pink ward somewhere. Like, around Dragon or Baron or something. Like, just pink ward here. Just grab some pink wards on your way. Like, no one else is warding. That's good. Yeah, spin to win. Okay, good. You got her. Get the Straka. Yeah, the silence. Nice. What you got? Okay, looks pretty good. Y'all can't... I don't think you're gonna be able to do that. I mean, maybe with Recon Shield, especially if you use your Courage, I think maybe you can handle it. Alright, get it. You guys, quick, get this. Alright, you guys need to leave. Leave. Kill Draven and then go get the big dragon. Y'all need to leave. Why are you still here? You need to just run out. Use that. Yeah, jump. No, too late. You let her reposition behind you. I mean, you might as well fight her. You're not running. But yeah, y'all, I don't know why you stayed so long. That was weird. I got the Death Dance. Y'all need to be careful. This is 3-on-5, eventually. You're not gonna kill him. You don't have enough damage. Well, that that's Fire Touch killed him, I believe. Oh, if she hadn't run, y'all would have had her. There are no wards on this map right now. Yeah, I think you definitely need to put some pinks in here somewhere. Like here, just anywhere. Here. You need to always have a pink on the map, no matter what. In any role, you need to have a pink on the map. Now, in other roles, you can't replace your pink as much to move them forward because you don't want to spend that much money as you do with support. But you need to have a pink on the map at all times. In any role. Even if it's one that just sits there and is not doing that much, it's at least giving some vision. Somewhere on the map. Yeah, if y'all kill her here, you might be able to just run it up middle. Because she really is the thing that's holding them in this game. Yeah, go get her. Y'all got her. Gonna get this rocket too. Get that stun. Okay, yeah, run at her. Run at her. Silence her. No, don't E. You need to use your Q to silence. Okay, go kill Maokai. Yeah. Silence. Spin to win. Szechuan gets the stun. Get the Maokai. Y'all need to back up, back up, back up. Yeah, let's get the inhibitor. I guess everyone's up here, just get this. Wow, is that dude just like AFK or what? Yeah, you need to be over here with the team. I mean, yeah, maybe they should have gone for this one, but you need to be up here because this is where all the action is. If you're right there right now, the game's over. Because you just kill this Draven right now, but he's gonna survive. Yeah, I think that's pretty significant macro error there. Just stay with him and just get this inhibitor and then walk down to this one.
A summoner has disconnected. A summoner has reconnected.
Yeah. I mean, there's no real reason to split there. Like, the only reason that you split is if there's too much pressure in one area to just do a team fight. That's why split pushers, like, if they just keep wave clearing, that's why you have a split pusher to draw people away. But you're not really drawing people away there. No one's going to come down there and mark you. They're all just going to team up and kill these people right here. So if you're with them, then that doesn't happen. But I think if you're just stay with the team there, I think you guys probably would have just won the game. You need to be careful against this Eve. You've gotten caught several times against her. Like, you can't solo her at this point. That window has passed, and she can run you down. Like, you're not getting away. And she has Blade the Ruined King, and she just gets a lot of extra speed. Off of her Q, and off of Dead Man's Plate, and all that stuff. Really pretty lucky she doesn't go some kind of, like, lifesteal, like Rune Blade. If she had Rune Blade here, she could probably kill almost everybody. Wow. Yeah, Misfortune's just melting people now. Sedge's doing very well, too. Alright. I think you need to consider kind of the, just looking at these champions in this matchup. Like, you need to play it like it looks, right? You're a huge guy in a massive suit of armor with a massive sword against, like, a slender girl in, like, an evening gown or something in top, or whatever skin she was wearing. I don't remember. In the top lane, and it should go down about how it looks, right? Like, you should be able to run up and muscle her down, like, beat her up in lane, you know? Like, you are the warrior, you are the person with the huge sword and armor, like, you should not be getting bullied around, or even, like, it shouldn't even be close in this lane. That's the biggest thing, is that Garen is an early game champion. I'm not saying that you should beat up, like, if you're a huge guy, that you should beat up skinny girls, obviously. But I'm just saying, just like thematically, you know, it looks like it should be a lopsided matchup top in terms of, like, early game. And that's exactly how it should play out. So I think that the biggest thing is be much more aggressive early on. Like, you need to get in there, just walk up, Q, auto, spin, auto, back up. You heal, she doesn't. You crush her. And then she's going to be so low that even if Maokai shows up, they're not going to be able to kill you because you can just turn around and kill her. You should be like, just crushing her top lane. She should not even be in the game. There are two different styles that I talked about. So you can either zone her, let her push in a little bit, and then zone her off of the minions. This will help protect you against ganks a little bit better while also creating pressure by forcing the jungler to come up there, or she's not going to get any CS. Like, that's a tactic. Or you can keep pushing them in and then go roam and try to kill the Tristana middle, or, like, go ward the jungle and try to make some plays there. So you can either push and roam, or you can freeze around your tower and just zone her and just deny her a bunch of CS. So either way, I think, is fine. But the letting her push you in a tower is not acceptable, and like letting just letting her keep it in the middle of the lane and just free farm is not really a thing either. So especially with Doran's shield, like you get so much extra regeneration early on, and with your passive, that she just can't keep up with that. You know, you just walk up, trade, walk back, wait 10 seconds, you're going to be at full health again, she's still going to be at half health, and you just walk up, trade again, rinse and repeat, you know, every 10 seconds or so, and she just can't hang with that. There we go. Watch itemization. So watch the itemization carefully. You know, I think one of the biggest things in this game is you rush Spirit Visage. So even if she went all AP, you know, even if she went something like rushed a Leandries or something like that early, rushed like Rylai's Leandries, you would still want to go Cleaver, I think. I just don't think there's any reason to be scared of her at all early game. You know, even though you basically gained almost nothing from getting that Spirit Visage early, you still beat her up in lane. And, you know, Garen gets outscaled later. Like you saw by the end of the game, even AD Eve, which is not like a premier in-game bully, could still fight you and like beat you up at the end of the game. So Garen really, really has to be ahead early on and leverage that. And you want to close out games pre-30 minutes if you're playing Garen. I'm going to say build Black Cleaver first 95% of the time. Only adjust if you're losing badly. So if you're getting completely stomped in lane, you can get a defensive item first, but the vast majority of the time you should be going Cleaver. And I would go for an offensive item after that, which I said several times. I think either Mortal Reminder or Death's Dance, just something. Maybe even Ghostblade. That would let you just really roam around the map and like make plays and pick people off. Something like that, I think, is what you need to do. If you're going to get a defensive item, I think either Thorn Mail or Dead Man's Plate would be what you want. But yeah, just build the AD. Remember, Cleaver is so good for all the reasons I described. It's a great one-on-one. It provides armor shred, which benefits you and your team. You had a lot of AD on your team. Misfortune didn't have a Cleaver, so it would really help her out during her ult. It'll let you wave clear faster. It lets you last hit better, so you don't have to use your abilities on the wave. Especially as you start moving up, if someone sees you use an ability on the wave, they're going to go up and punish you for that immediately. So if they see you Q a wave, they're going to go up and fight you because they're going to know you don't have Q. Or if they see you E the wave, they're going to go up and fight you because they know you don't have E. So really, you need to practice last hitting with just your auto attacks. And then save your abilities for trading. And if you get Cleaver first, that helps you with your auto attack and last hitting because you have AD. Spirit Visage doesn't give you an AD, so it's still going to be tougher to last hit. This helps you last hit better. So it helps you last hit, helps you wave clear, helps you in team fights, helps you one-on-one fight. It still gives you a pretty decent amount of tankiness through the health that it gives you. So it's just everything that you want as Garen. Your whole kit is just screaming Black Cleaver. So you really, really need Cleaver first. Use Q before the hold people in place for the spin. So I think the silence is pretty brutal, isn't it? Okay, it silences for 1.5 seconds. So I thought it used to silence for a little bit longer than that. 30% bonus movement speed for a few seconds. Okay. But still, 1.5 seconds is quite a long time. I mean, that's enough to get off the spin like half. It's guaranteeing half of your spin to win before they can flash. It lets you gap close. It does that spike damage, and it doesn't let them retaliate. I mean, that's a second and a half that Eve can't press her Q, and all she can do is auto attack, which is virtually nothing. So, it really, really helps a lot. And then, you know, when someone's going to hit you with a big hit, like if Eve's rolling up and you think she's going to ult you, you know, use your courage. It's harder to predict that. But try to use your courage to get this damage mitigation whenever you can. But that's kind of higher. That's harder to do. Like, you need to be able to block big. Like, if Tristana's going to ult you, or they didn't really have a ton of like high burst, high cooldown abilities. But, you know, if Jinx is going to hit you with a rocket, or Tristana is going to ult you, or Lux is going to laser you, or whatever, those would be the times to proc this courage. But in general, I say just use it pretty quick whenever you're in a fight against their team comp, and it'd probably be okay. But there was a lot of times where I saw you just running up and just Eing people without hitting them with your Q first. So make sure you hit them with the Q, then E. Don't use abilities on wave clear. Watch itemization. Get that black cleaver. Work on your itemization. And be much, much more aggressive earlier. Just act like you're the guy with the huge sword and armor and just fight them a lot early game. Okay, and I think that's going to be it. Stay with team more. That's one thing that I want to say. I don't think I saw you teleport into a fight all game. I'm trying to remember. But there were several times where your team was fighting and you needed a teleport to be there. And Eve beat you to a lot of fights. Near the end of the game also, you couldn't really split against Eve because she can beat you up. She could 1v1 you. So you just want to stay with your team as much as possible. And with those inhibitors at the end, remember, you want to be with your team, not splitting for a secondary inhibitor. Like, are you right in the abstract your team should go get the open inhibitor instead of the tower? Yes. They should do that, but they weren't doing it. So just stay with them and make sure you get that one inhibitor, then you can rotate down and get another one. The only reason you should split push is to draw pressure away from the other team if you can't just get it with a team fight. You should always default to staying with your team and getting things with team fights if that's working. Only if that's not working should you try a split push to relieve pressure so that your team can actually get towers. But team fight is the easiest thing for people to understand in solo queue. You just get people together, you use your abilities, and you kill people. Like, that's the easiest thing to understand. Split pushing is much harder because people have to know, well, I should back up because Garen's not here, or, you know, that's the biggest thing. I should back up and not fight because we don't have everyone here. People just don't understand that, especially in, like, bronze, silver, gold. They're just going to fight. They're not going to pay attention to the minimap. Even a lot of times in platinum, they don't pay attention to the minimap. So you don't want to risk it and just stay with your team unless you have to split. All right, and that's going to be it. So thank you very much. It was nice being able to comment on something a little different. Keep me on my toes. Haven't commented on a Garen game, so that's fun. Grab a drink of water real quick. I'm trying to rapid fire out like 8 coaching sessions today. So have to have a little something to eat, a little something to drink every now and then to keep me going. So if you want to join, Dylan already is a member. If you would like to become a member, you can just click on this link in the description. It talks about the membership here. It's really cool. It's less than $0.25 a day. Just $5 a month, just like a Twitch subscription. It has a lot more benefits to it. So this extra $5 a month allows me to run a private Discord. It allows me to run viewer night. It allows me to do votes for normal champions every week, 10% discount for donation services, and if you're interested in Warhammer content, then you can vote on which faction you want to see next, especially once Warhammer 2 comes out. It'll come more into effect. So, you know, one of the things, and people have asked, well, why can't I do the Discord for free? Why can't I do Viewers Night for free and stuff like that? The problem is there's just not a fair way to do a lot of this stuff, and it, you know, in some way or another, doesn't exactly detract from the growth of the channel, but in theory it could if it was done on a very large scale. So viewer night in particular, people have wanted to be able to play games with me, be able to play games with each other on stream and things like that. There's just not a fair way to do that for 11,000 people that are subbed to the channel currently. So this is a good way to reward people that want to spend that, less than quarter a day to support the channel. It allows me to organize and try to create a fair system where we can rotate through people, and using the Discord. And the Discord itself is super helpful as well. I know that some channels might do a, just a Discord for everybody. But the problem is that's really difficult to regulate. If we had 11,000 people in here, it would be almost impossible for me to just constantly get the trolls out, and just make sure that everyone is, talking and just in an appropriate way and keeping up with the standards of the strategy professor in the chat and things like that. So it would also be super crowded. I mean, there would be hundreds, thousands of people in here all the time. It would be hard to hear your voice, get your voice heard. And I just think this is a much cooler way to do it. Because the thing is, and may not always be the case, I'm sure eventually we'll get a troll, but it's much less likely that someone's going to want to pay $5 to troll, right? So if they pay $5 and they come in here and start screaming a bunch of racist stuff, or just like saying a bunch of inappropriate, ridiculous stuff, accosting people, things like that, we can just ban them and kick them out. And then they just lost $5 by doing that. People aren't going to do that. A lot of times, like most trolls, the only reason they troll in these internet chat rooms and say all this racist stuff is because they can, because it's free and there are no consequences for their actions, right? But if it's $5, a lot of people just aren't going to do that. And so it helps keep the chat a little bit cleaner, makes the Discord feel a little bit more intimate, a little bit more friendly, a little bit more of kind of like a cool, like tight-knit community. And another reason is that I do the private Discord for members only is because we need most of the chat to stay on YouTube, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that it's quality content. The more comments that you get on a video, the more likely YouTube is to think that it's high quality, and it's more likely to bump it up on the search engine. So that helps people find the channel and enjoy the same kind of content that I hope you enjoy on the channel. So we want most of the commentary to stay on YouTube proper, but for people that are willing to, donate that quarter a day to help out the channel, then that's kind of a nice reward, is that they get to have this more private experience. So I think that's pretty cool. And you get to share links, because it is a more private experience. You get to share links, you get to tell stories, you get to queue up and play games with each other if you want to. I know people have done ARAMs and normals and things with each other in these groups. You could, in theory, join one of these groups and listen to some music while you watch the stream. So there are a lot of cool ways that I think people can utilize this to have a lot of fun on Discord. So that's a cool benefit. Normal games, every Tuesday you get to come out, play with me. I rotate through, try to get everyone in. That's a lot of fun. And you get to vote on champions with a straw poll every week that I play during normals and during viewer night. So it's just a ton of benefits. It's a lot of fun. If you spend any time at all on the channel, I think that it's definitely worth it. And you get to be proud because you're supporting the content that you enjoy. I spend probably at least 10 hours a day on the channel. Obviously don't make a ton of money from it. I'm not in it for the money. I just really love doing it. But it is nice to be able to show my wife that we do get a little bit. We do get some peanuts off the channel so that she doesn't murder me in my sleep for spending so much time on the channel. So it is nice to have some justification for that. But anyways, if you're interested, just email me. I can give you more information. If you want to join, then the link is right here. You just click on it. It takes about 30 seconds to set up a PayPal account. It's really simple. Like I said, it's just $5 a month, cancel anytime, no contracts. And you can get that set up, and we could get you on members night tonight if you want. It is a Tuesday or next Tuesday. So come on, join the fun, have a good time, enjoy all these benefits that you get. Dylan's joined. And there have been several other people that I've done coaching videos for that have joined. So come on in, enjoy everything we have to offer. If you have any more questions, you can email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. If you want to see any more coaching videos, I've got the playlist here. I'm going to have probably 35 to 40 videos after today, so lots more coaching you could see. And if you want some in-depth champion guides, you can click here. Learn more about Janna, Soraka, Zyra, Lulu, and all of these other guides that I have. And I've got more coming out soon. So that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.